5,
4,
3,
2,
1.
It's Soso Juv, and we in the building. Welcome to another episode of the My 5 Cents podcast. Beautiful people. Let me go ahead and introduce the cast of characters. To my diagonal that way, it's HLS.
It's your boy, the habitual line stepper. What's up, everybody?
What's going on, man? What's going on?
I'm chilling.
And to my left, I got the logical genius.
The logical one is back in the building, people, ready for another show. Let's go.
Let's do it. And welcome to another episode of the My 5 Cents podcast, the family debate show where we talk about perspective and the art of persuasion, as we are the only podcast that turns our guest into a judge. Fellas, how you feeling this week?
Yo,
Good.
can't complain,
Yes.
man.
Voice is a little raspy, but I can maintain for tonight. Let's go.
How you doing, more importantly?
Me? Man, I'm out in the wilderness. They got me in Chicago. I don't know where I'm going to be next week. I don't know where I'm living sometimes. I'm all over the place. So, me, International Juve. That's what they call me now, all right?
I didn't know Chicago was international.
Man. They got an international airport. I know that much.
Yeah.
All right, so let's introduce our guest. Our guest is the current co-host on 92 Pro FM with Giovanni in the morning. She has 16 plus years of radio experience at Cumulus Providence sister stations, Hot 106 and WPRO as well. She also makes monthly appearances on TMZ Live and is a contributor to local CBS TV affiliate, The Road Show. Our guest has become the source for entertainment and pop culture news. She has interviewed some of the industry's top celebrities and the occasional celebrity, many Real Housewives there. When she is not behind the mic or posting a hot headline, she is not sitting at home being a regular mom. She's a cool mom to her two daughters, Ariel and Iris. And she also loves spending time with her couch co-pilot and husband, Tony. Representing Creston, Rhode Island, please welcome to the My 5 Cents podcast, Bekah Berger. Welcome.
What's up, Bekah?
Yes, I am representing Cranston. That's right.
All right, stand up. Let's go.
Let's do it. Oh my God.
I'm feeling outnumbered already.
Hey, you're like an adopted son of Rhode Island.
That's fair.
You've had much success in Rhode Island.
I've had a lot of success in Rhode Island.
Yes. So, Bekah, let me start you off with our icebreaker. What is your superpower and how has it assisted you in your journey?
Oof. Okay. My superpower is definitely knowing all the random and ridiculous facts about celebrities. How like you're watching a show and you're like, I know that guy and he's from something. Instead of having typically people would have to like IMDb that or it. I typically know. And it just like that. And it's usually because they were in an episode of like Law and Order or Grey's Anatomy. But that I think would be my superpower. And it has assisted me along my way pretty well. And also I like playing the Rhode Island game, like the Who Do You Know game. Oh, you're from there. And then it's like a Kevin Bacon situation.
Yeah.
It's like it's 6 degrees. And I usually can find like a common person. And that's just what happens when you grow up here.
Yeah, definitely. So my question to you, one of many, is what is the most common question your friends ask you about the industry?
Oh, they always want to know who is like a jerk that I've met or like, and it's hard, right? Because you don't ever want to dim people's perception on, they say never meet your heroes. In this industry, I've met plenty of very high profile, very interesting people. I would say 85% of the time they're cool, right? Because when they go to the radio station, they're usually on their way up or they're usually on their way down. And they need us. So they're typically going to be on their best behavior. There's been a few who haven't been, there's always one in particular I go to who hadn't been famous for a year, and she was exhibiting major diva behavior. I will not put that person on blast right now.
You're on
She has
blast.
put herself on blast in the last year or so. So she's kind of done that to herself. But I would say the majority of people, when I tell them what I do, they want to know who misbehaved, or they always want to know, they want to know the hot goss. They want to know what happens behind the scenes. But like I said, because it's usually artists that are wanting to promote stuff, they're typically on their best behavior.
Okay, so let me give you my question then. This is my question. What is, or do you believe, in your opinion, is the Illuminati real?
Oof.
Is this like some make believe, or is this real? Or can you not say? Are you sworn to some sort of secrecy?
Imagine if I like blink twice and that means something.
Listen, they're real. We have already established from our Donnie Klang episode that the Illuminati is real.
Okay.
Illuminati is real.
Yeah.
So Donnie Klang was your Cat Williams episode.
Yes.
He's talking about secret meetings in the back of a Chinese restaurant with Jay-Z and Beyonce and Puff. And I'm like, wait, what?
He did.
I don't really subscribe to that stuff. I've never seen anything that would give me pause or have me even second guess anything like that. And I'm not one of those people who like buy into a lot of that stuff. You can kind of miss me with that. So I don't think it's 100%. I mean, there's always going to be a different side to every story, but I don't think it's as nefarious as we think. I think that there's some shady stuff, but I don't think it's as Illuminati-ish as we think.
That big of a conspiracy, right?
Yeah, parties is definitely a conspiracy.
Let me ask you this: you said you met a lot of celebrities,
yes,
especially you said never meet your heroes, and I'm sure you get this question from your friends, and I'm not asking you to reveal anyone's name, so maybe you could. But who, like, do you have like a Rolodex of celebrities that you're in regular contact with now? Like,
it's usually their people, right?
Okay.
Like you get like their management, or it's always funny to watch how many people surround some of these celebrities. Like it's just nuts how many people it takes for their day-to-day to go well, especially in the music industry. I mean, you don't just have one manager. There's a day manager, there's a night manager, there is the record label, and then the record label's got a bunch of people that come through with the artist. So I mean, in terms of contacts, it's more like they're people rather than them directly.
Is it true that like some of the people or celebrities are like, I've heard people say like that they're assholes through their assistants. Like they don't want to be the asshole. They don't want to be the person giving you a hard time or whoever the interviewer is.
Sure.
But they channel their inner asshole through inner asshole. I don't know. But channel their inner asshole through their like PR person or whomever.
By proxy. Sure. I mean, like, one of our things is like, I always hate the do not ask list. I just don't, obviously we're never going to ask something that is because again, this is a radio station. Like, we're not going to go like super mega controversial or anything like that. But also I would say in the 16 plus years I've been doing this, I think I've seen maybe 3 do not asks lists, which is not bad. It's just, it's always annoying. And
can you reveal like something without revealing someone?
Yeah,
like some of the
like,
crazy do not asks.
Yeah, like there was somebody early on who has a famous sibling. So they were not a Nepo baby, but like a Nepo sibling. Okay. And they didn't want to talk about their nose job. They didn't want to talk about their sister. They didn't want to talk about anything. And it's like, well, why are you here?
Why are you here?
But then it's like, obviously, like if they don't want people to know they got a nose job, they don't want to talk about that, which I respect. It's always the people that are like, oh, I don't want to talk about my relationship, but like you're putting a lot of that stuff out there. Now, again, this is like, when I think of this is like the blog era. This is like pre-social media, when a lot of celebrities were still super like close to the vest. Like now they let so much out. They let social media speak for them. But I would say back then they were definitely a little bit more secretive, and a lot of them still are.
Are you over it in a way? Like,
I'll never be over it.
never.
I hope
Never.
I'm never over it. I think it's still super cool. I mean, I think that I've seen people get over it. I've seen so many people get super jaded when when, in my opinion, they've got like the coolest jobs. But then
Yeah.
again, like any other job, it's a job, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. True.
and
True.
and with anything else, there's always going to come politics and drama and just like the day-to-day annoyances. But I'll never be over it. I'm very, very blessed to do what I do and to have been doing it as long as I've been doing it. I mean, listen, fellas, like radio is, sometimes when I tell people, oh, I work in radio, they're like, yo, like you're still on the radio, like the radio is still a thing. And like,
I love the radio.
but I mean, like we do, like we're like elder millennials, right? Like we grew up, like for me, like I grew up taping like Kicks 106 and
I was
like
gonna say Kicks 106, right?
and
That is
Pro
not Hot
FM,
106, yeah.
things like that. But then like, you get like the Gen Z they're raised on podcasts. And here's the thing, like if radio never existed, podcasts wouldn't ever be a thing because radio is the original podcast. And I feel very comfortable saying that. But every day I'm very, very blessed because early on, people like, especially like professors when I was at URI, they would be like, you're going to get fired one day. Like you're not going to make money for a long time. And like, that's all true. I still have not been fired. That doesn't happen. I'm like looking for something. But yeah, no, I don't think I'd ever want, like, I can see how like as we get older, we put up with less BS, but I'm not jaded yet.
So I want to follow up on that. So you talked about the industry changing radio.
Yeah.
Now, you being in radio, do you find that you or maybe some of your peers kind of almost, I don't know, stick your nose at podcasts? Like, do you find podcasting to be a real industry?
Of course, I totally do. I mean, look at it, right? Like it's blowing up more and more every single day. There's a podcast simply about everything. I definitely used to feel some type of way about it just because I really wanted podcasts to acknowledge that radio was the godfather. But then again, it's like, who cares? I mean, like anything else, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. We were doing endorsements and live reads before podcasts were like, so I always like to say like radio walked so podcasts can run kind of thing.
Yeah,
and now
true.
In being in radio, we all do podcasting. So it's, if you can't beat them, you join them. The same thing happened when streaming music started to be a thing. Like that was a real threat to radio for a while too. Radio has constantly been threatened, specifically over the last 15, 20 years. And we're still here. We're still making revenue. We're still driving ratings. So I'm really happy about that.
And you can even go back further with television came around, right? They're like, no one's going to use radio. Everyone's going to rely on television. But radio's never disappeared, never went away.
Yeah. And I hope that that's still a thing. But like any other industry, you guys, you know how this is. You got to adapt. You have to be willing to change. You can't turn your nose up at it, and you have to be ready and willing to learn a lot.
Yeah. So from a local perspective, you mentioned Kicks 106, Hot 106. You transitioned from Hot 106 to 92 Pro FM. And I'll tell you, last time I was in Rhode Island, I was completely shocked and surprised to hear some of the music that was being played on 92 Pro FM. Because
no lies there.
Yo, 92 Pro FM, what was it, the song? TLC, Waterfalls. They would cut out Left Eye's like verse because it was rapping. Yeah. Like it was like.
Are you sure it was Pro FM? Because that might have been Light 105 too, because I know that they cut that.
Light 105, Light 105 did that too as well. Yeah.
But Pro FM back in the day, like you're not gonna hear rap. And then
or hip hop. Yeah.
Well, that's a really great point to make. My goodness. There's a lot of crossover these days. Mm-hmm. There's an artist named Tyla, and she's got this song out. Oh my God. And I can't believe it's escaping me right now, but yes. So it lived on Hot for a really long time. And we had Tyla in, absolutely like stunning, beautiful girl. And you always know when somebody walks in, you're like, she's going to be something. This song is going to be something. Because like when I first heard, I'm like, I'm getting J-Lo, I'm getting a little Rihanna. Like, where is this going? And then all of a sudden Pro FM started to play it. So there is a lot of crossover these days. Yes.
And I remember Pro Fm used to play some songs like 3 years later.
Oh yeah.
Not when it was hot. It was like 3 years later when it's kind of like, okay, it's okay to
Yeah,
release
that
this.
happens. But now you
Yeah.
can't do that. You can't get away with it.
Yeah.
Now it's streaming. You have to be on it.
So, Becca, let me ask you this: we're talking about celebrities, right?
Yeah.
Who would you say would be the biggest celebrities coming out of Rhode Island?
Oh, I mean,
Or who came out of Rhode Island? I should say.
Viola Davis to me is just the top. Like just because she's somebody who is, and if not well on her way to an EGOT, and not only just the fact that she's an actress, she's so much more than that. She's an icon. She's a pioneer. When she speaks, people listen. I mean, she commands a room. And the fact that, like, I know she was born in South or North Carolina, but the fact that she claims Central Falls is her home.
Yep.
And that Rick can have her as an alum, and that to me is what a gift we have. Just the fact that we can, I don't want to say claim her as our own, but we can say like, hey, look,
no, we claim her. We
have to, right? Like we
don't have much to claim.
We do. We need to exactly to your point. Like we got to claim it while we can. But yeah, no, I always go to Viola Davis. That's another one of my superpowers. I do have good roadie radar. Like I can always about celebrities or like different like little connections to Rhode Island. Maybe they're not always super obvious, and maybe I have to do a little bit of digging. But I would definitely go with Viola Davis as like the most famous person to come out of
It's funny because I remember back when I was at URI, there was like a conversation debate like at one of the basketball courts where one of the players, scholarship players from out of state, I can't remember which state he came from, and they were just talking about, you know, what's Rhode Island known for, and the person they was arguing with was from Rhode Island, and he was like, the only thing you're known for is the big blue bug on the highway. And he was just like, damn, I don't have anything to come back.
The big blue bug was in Dumb and Dumber.
It was in Dumb and Dumber.
Freda Felcher's from Cranston. She's iconic. I love that.
Was funny. Yeah, great movie.
So if someone was aspiring to be on the radio, to be a radio personality, what advice what advice would you give them?
To garner as much life experience as you can, right? Like one big thing that I'm happy I had, even though I started in radio as soon as I graduated from URI, like I literally walked off that stage and walked into that building, not on the air right away, but you know, I paid my dues, I did everything, but I'm glad that I had some other jobs. Like I'm glad that I was a waitress. I'm glad that I was a receptionist. I'm glad that I had just these other jobs before I got into radio, because you need life experience to relate to people. And if you want to do a morning show, you have to have relatable experiences. It's like comedians, right? Like I'm not a comedian. However, one trait that I think comedians and personalities share is that you want to deliver material that is relatable to your audience. In order to do that, you need to garner a lot of life experience. Now, I'm not saying I lived an entire life. Like by the time I got out of URI, I was only 21, but still I had stuff that I could fall back on, and I continue to as well. So I would say don't discount any of your radio life, because you're going to need that in order to play in. And I'm sure you guys know that, like by doing a podcast, you have stuff that you need to talk about so your audience can relate to it. So I would say my biggest piece of advice is don't discount your normal life. It's anything to talk about, any material to talk about, because at the end of the day, you want your audience to relate to you.
Absolutely. So I feel like that's a perfect segue into the next part of our show is why the heck are we here and what are we going to talk about? So our topic for today is career-ending celebrity scandals. And Logical Genius, can you please explain to our guests and our people out there listening what's going to happen next?
All right, Bekah, you've established your credibility with our audience. They know you know celebrities, and our topic today is about celebrities, as Soso Juv mentioned. So, what we are going to do, Soso Juv, HLS, and I are going to present to you our top 5 celebrities who never came back from
Yeah.
controversy. Right? They just it happened and they just disappeared. Right? And where are they now? It's one of those when you Google it, you see where is this person now? Where is that person now? So what we need you to do is decide which one of us has the best list. We're going to
Okay.
present to you our list one at a time. We don't know what each other has on our list, so it's going to be a surprise to you as well as to us. And then after that, you get to decide who is in third place. We don't care about second place because second is irrelevant. And we want to know who has the best list, the number one list.
If you're not first, you're last.
There it
Basically,
is.
yes.
There it is. You got it. You got it.
You already know, Bekah. You already know. So, HLS, go ahead and explain to our judge what is the criteria for judging.
So, like in your career in television and radio, there's things you have to follow. There's rules and FAA is it FAA
FCC.
FCC.
I
Yeah,
think FAA
got
is
my
that
alphabet wrong.
air?
It's
Yeah,
airs.
airline.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
definitely.
FCC rules and all these other things, right?
Habitual line stepper.
On this show, there are no rules. There is no criteria.
Nada.
None.
You might like the fact that I worked in radio in college, and
I
that's why
like
you
it.
choose me as number
Oh,
one.
all right. I see what you just did there.
You might like the fact that I am a Thunderbolt and a Ram.
I do like that.
I'm just saying, you might
boy.
pick my list because of that.
That's great.
You might like the fact that my list is the best list. Forget all that other stuff. It's just the best list. Like what? What radio? Thunderbolts? Everyone's like, what? What is he talking? What are they talking about? It's the best list. That's why you would pick me. But it's up to you. Totally up to
Whatever
you.
criteria is really up to you. But what you have to do first is you get to decide who do you want to hear from.
All right,
right now.
we're gonna go with Logical Genius.
Okay.
Okay,
Grab the pillow,
Bekah.
Bekah.
PLG.
DLG. There we go. There we go. So Bekah, here's the logic to my list, right? There's a lot of celebrities you can say that kind of just disappeared from controversy, right? And you would know this because we established that you remember everything about celebrities, right? So what I did was I took the biggest downfall. Like it's you can be like a B-list celebrity or a C-list celebrity. There's different levels to it, right? We can all agree on that. But I want to take someone who was at the top of their game at the time and just disappeared and fell off the face of the earth. So at number 5, I'm gonna go with Lance Armstrong. Lance Armstrong
Oh,
was a 7-time Tour de France winner, set the record, and then all of a sudden he had the doping controversy. And what did they do? They stripped every single championship, every single Tour de France title that he won out of it. He was the poster boy for cancer treatment. He raised like $500 million towards that, and ever since the doping issues came out, gone. Never heard from him again.
he was the Livestrong.
They even
version.
took the yellow
Livestrong,
rubber.
yes,
They even
the
took the
Livestrong.
yellow rubber band from him too. My God.
I used to work at a shoe store. I'm not going to say the name of the store, but they used to have those bands, and people used to take the bands just because they wanted the bands and give them out because they came with the shoe boxes. So Lance Armstrong for me is number 5. At number 4, another person who was top of his game at the time. He was the highest paid television actor, and that was Charlie Sheen. He was
Mhm.
making $1.8 million per episode for 2.5 Men at the time. Came from a celebrity family. His father was Martin Sheen. His brother was Emilio Estevez. He had the number one comedy, most watched comedy for 6 years. I think year 1 wasn't, but year 2 to year 8 was number 1 in all of television. And then all of a sudden, fell from the face of the earth, disappeared. At number 3, this is kind of more of a recent celebrity. Now, it's kind of debating whether or not I should put this person on. But then looking at it, I'm like, yeah, they disappear because you don't disappear with these numbers for no reason. This person had a daytime talk show that ran for 19 years, 3,300 episodes, 170 daytime Emmys, was making about $60 million a season. received the 2016 Presidential Medal of Freedom, and all of a sudden, gone. Ellen DeGeneres, right?
Right.
Who stops the season at 19? Like you don't do that. Like
No.
You got to go to 20.
you gotta go to 20 at that point, right? And it's not
Round
like
it
her
up.
ratings were falling down. So she had this whole hostile work environment thing that came out, and she just never recovered. And then I think she was saying like, "Oh, I chose not to renew my contract or whatever." You were making 60 million an episode for really just giving away money, right? And you stopped at year 19. Come on, no, you were forced out at that point, and we haven't really heard from her since, right? At number two, which this is really sad, but he was he used to be one of my favorite actors. He was in a lot of my favorite movies of all time, and that's Kevin Spacey.
Mm.
I mean, Usual Suspects, Seven, L.A. Confidential, American Beauty, The Life of David Gale, House of Cards. I mean, he was in everything. I mean, and the man won almost every single award. He won Oscars, multiple Oscars. He won Golden Globes. He won the Tony Awards. He won the Critics' Choice Award, MTV Movie Awards, all of these awards. And then all of a sudden, sexual harassment issues came out and he disappeared. Like he hasn't really been heard from since. I mean, was it 2017 was when it happened? It was so bad where he had the movie All the Money in the World that was supposed to come out with him, and they literally reshot the entire movie to get rid of him from the movie. That's insane, right? Like there's no recovery from that. Like, and we haven't really heard from him since, I think, other than some like TV or ad that he released a couple years ago on his own on his Twitter or something like that. Yeah, nothing. So that's number two for me. At number one, and I actually talked about him in our episode number one, I think, top celebrity scandals. And I have him number one because of who he is or who he was in the industry. I have Harvey Weinstein. The man was a mogul, right? He was a mogul. He made celebrities and in turn was a celebrity himself. He was untouchable at a certain point where he, like, everything he touches was everyone wanted to be a part of. Everyone knew his name. He knew he had every actor or actress under his belt for any kind of project. His Weinstein company made, like, I don't know, over 200 movies and from every genre. And all of a sudden, controversy, gone. I think he was worth up to like 300 million at one point, and then since then, only 25 million. And I only say only with an asterisk because I would like to have 25 million in my bank account. But that's a big downfall. And his company, the Weinstein Company, eventually declared bankruptcy in 2018 because no one really wanted to be involved with them. So, Bekah, those are my 5 cents.
I like the 5. I mean, I don't like them because they're all pretty bad people. But
yeah. I got you. Who do you want to hear from next?
All right, let's go with HLS.
All right, Bekah. Here's my 5 cents on the topic. Ironically, me and Logical Genius don't agree too often, but I too have Kevin Spacey on my list.
Mm-hmm.
I discovered Kevin Spacey from this movie called Consenting Adults. I thought it was fantastic. And ever since then, I was like, yo, this guy's a phenomenal actor.
He was.
But he has a past, a very checkered past. And it came out. And this other actor said this guy was inappropriate with me. And after one accusation comes a landslide of accusations. And you're in a hit show on Netflix. And you got fired from your own show. Kevin Spacey.
Show.
He's in my number 5. Hit show. At number 4, we had someone who's reporting on people like Kevin Spacey. He was the go-to guy. He was the guy that you turned into for your news, for your sports, for the Olympics. He was the face of NBC, and he couldn't keep it in his pants. Matt Lauer.
And he had a
Matt
button.
Lauer, number 4.
Let's not forget he had a button in his office.
He had a button.
Button.
Fun fact, I actually got into an argument with my girlfriend at the time because I was like, some of his accusers were of age, consenting adults. And she was the one that told me it was abuse of power. And I didn't realize it until she kind of broke it down. I didn't really get it. So shout out to her at the time for opening my eyes a little bit.
The morning show, that's what that show's all about.
It's all, yep. So that's how scandalous it was, right? If you have a TV show about who you are, it's
I know.
bad.
Yep.
And number 3, so this, it's almost should have been my number 1, but it's almost like it was too dated. This duo, it wasn't 1, it was 2, shot up to superstardom, international stars, sex symbols. Then it all came crashing down after one performance on MTV. Milli Vanilli.
Yep.
So
Girl,
bad.
you know it's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
Great music. They just
Yeah.
never sang it. They
No.
never sang it. It was so bad. One of them turned to drugs and alcohol, ended up dying. A new doc came out recently. Like they were just two guys who said, you know what? I have a dream. And they took the bait. They made a deal with Rumpelstiltskin, and and the career came crashing down. It's a sad story.
Very.
And number 2, I too have Charlie Sheen. He was just being him. He's like, yo,
He was.
I'm a warlock.
He was. It's not. I don't know. He was.
I got tiger blood. Now, when people use this word, it's synonymous with Charlie Sheen. Winning. Hashtag winning. If you have a hashtag based on what you said, like, you know it's legit.
Yeah.
That's my number 2. And my number 1, I tried to cancel this guy myself back in like 2001. There was a tape that came out, a very, very shady, blurry tape that this came out of this guy performing a sexual act on a woman or underage girl. And I'm not going to mention any names. I'm not going to put anyone's business in the street, but someone said, yo, you have to listen to this album. You have to listen to this album. TP2.com.
Woo!
And that album was fire. And you know what? I said, you know what? I'm going to look past it. R. Kelly.
Yeah.
R. Kelly. Then years later, more accusers. This guy had a litany, a laundry list of women who said, hey, listen, this guy's no good. No good. Even, ironically, me and Soso Juv had a question amongst ourselves saying, could you ever date a woman who was been with R. Kelly? It was at the height of his career. Like he had a lot to lose. He had a lot of more music to give out. Singers could sing well into their 70s and 80s. And R. Kelly definitely had more hits coming. But now he's where he should be, in jail. And that's my 5 cents on career-ending scandals.
I like that you made him number 1. I get why, because of the whole P thing.
Yeah, it's tough.
Number 1, number 2, like the one. The number 1.
You just realized that HLS. She had to explain that too.
Listen.
Like, I'm with you.
Too much credit, Bekah. Too much credit.
That was a good one, Beck. I appreciate that joke.
That was very good by you.
Right over his head. Right over his head.
Listen, sometimes I miss things. It happens.
All right. So, Bekah, I'm so glad you're still with us after listening to those two over there. I'm going to go ahead and give you my 5 cents on career-ending scandals. And at number 5, no one's mentioned before, but I'm going to mention it as well. It is Matt Lauer. For him, his star, he was powerful in the industry. And then that 2017 Me Too movement, NBC icon, gone. Became an overnight leper. Once the reports came out, it was just over for him. And then on top of it, his wife divorces him in 2019. So, Matt Lauer, number 5. At number 4, I tell a story. Usually I get my stories from what I ingest. And I happen to be watching a Netflix docuseries. And that docuseries was called Harry and Meghan.
Oof.
And that docuseries, I started wondering, do you get paid to be a royal? To my astonishment, you do. Want to know how much you get paid to be a royal?
A lot.
Approximately $7 million a year.
Just out of your birthright.
Yes, just for being born into royalty. Now I truly understand, like, you got to collect your royalties. Like, I get the expression. I was like, $7 million. And on top of it, the queen passed away. $100 million was dispersed in that will. He didn't get a penny. All this because he married Meghan Markle. Scandal being she's black and the royals just wasn't ready for it. And I get it because Meghan is bad. She's bad. But $7 million? Bekah, I got a homework. I got a homework assignment for you, Bekah. We're gonna go on that couch with Tony, all right? And I want you to ask Tony, would you give up $7 million a year to be with me? I want you to record this.
Oh.
And ask Tony, hey.
No, I don't want to know the answer.
I don't want to know the answer.
We don't ask questions. We don't want to know the answer.
No. I love it. That's a motto that I live by as well.
Nope.
So at number 3, it's actually saddened me to put this on the list. I almost went to Harvey Weinstein because I didn't want to put it on the list, but Bill Cosby.
Yeah, I was waiting. I was looking for somebody to put it on there.
America's dad. I mean, and I don't know if the scandal might have started when he decided that he was going to try to buy out NBC, and then the Illuminati came in, and then boom, all of these things are coming. But his fall from grace, from immortalized, I mean, we're talking about Bill Cosby.
Yep.
Cliff Huxtable. And for him, as a black man, to be seen as America's dad, you want to talk about a fall from grace? That one, it actually pains me. There's a documentary that's out.
We need to talk about Cosby. It's
so
good. It's sad.
I haven't had the heart because I know, like, I have to be prepared. And it was on Showtime. I had a free little Showtime thing, and I was about to click it, and I said, "Nah, I can't do it."
It's tough. It's a tough watch.
So at number 2, I have O.J. Simpson.
Oh, okay.
A man who transcended race at the height of the civil rights movement. Once stated, "I'm not black, I'm O.J." Where allegedly someone wearing his shoes and gloves killed his wife. He was a sportscaster, and after the trial of the century, where everybody ate off of that trial, the judge ate. What was it? Kato
Kaelin.
Yeah. Wait, who is he? He has a career off of this thing. The trial of the century, one of the biggest spectacles that we've ever seen, or at least that I've ever seen, ever. And now he's turned into this has-been, this fool. And this fool ended up getting arrested after getting away with murder. Like, after you get away with murder, wouldn't you just sit yourself in the corner and say, "Hey, I'm good"?
Yeah.
No, this fool goes ahead and gets arrested.
Hey, listen, he said he got away with murder, so he's like, I could get away with anything else after this.
Yeah.
Right? And at number 1, because we're talking about greatest celebrity scandal of all time. And I know that you as a Thunderbolt, you as a Ram, will understand where I'm coming from with this one. And it's a guy, it's an actor. He goes by the name of John Wilkes Booth. And what did he do? He killed the president.
Yeah.
He killed Honest Abe. And let me tell you something, he never got another job after that. He was the Leonardo DiCaprio of his time. He actually played Romeo in Romeo and Juliet. He did this in Albany. Not only did he not get another job, 12 days later, he got shot and never had another breath after that. So that right there is number 1 on the list.
Can I ask you guys a question about OJ really quick?
Sure.
Yes.
All right. So let me give you a scenario, right? You're at a bar and OJ just happens to be at the same bar. Would you want a picture with OJ?
No.
No, I don't. Like, what am I going to do with that picture?
I don't know. It's a question that I don't want to say it's like a radio topic question, because I don't even think if we've ever actually had like the kahunas to actually ask it, but because that there's people out there that would go right up to him and be like, Juice, we need to get this photo.
Yeah.
And
drunk and sober.
Yeah, right. So it's always food for thought.
Yeah, I would take a picture of him.
Yeah,
I would. I don't know. I don't know about with him. After watching the Made in America documentary, excellent documentary. If you haven't seen it, make sure y'all see it. Phenomenally done. Nah, no way I want to take a picture with him.
And the funny thing, like with dudes, the way guys take pictures with other, like it's usually buddy up, dapping up, like hands, like we're cool, like that, like how would that pose go would be an OJ, right? And then once I have the picture, do I post a friendly picture on social media? Do I use it as my LinkedIn profile? Like, what do I do with it? Exactly. Like, do I print it out and frame it on my celebrity wall of photographs? Like, how do you, and predate it before the murders or something? Like, how do you like, what do you do with that stuff, right? What do you do with that image?
It's weird.
Yeah, just sit to your phone. All right, Bekah. So you've heard our list. And you get to ponder. But in the meantime, HLS, Soso Juv, and I are going to poke holes at each other's list to hopefully sway your favor. You, of course, can have your own questions and kind of clarify or ask us to clarify anything on our list. But we're going to have a little debate, a little back and forth to kind of, weaken each other's list to try to win your favor.
So, Bekah, do you have anything for us for cross-examination? Do you have any questions on our list?
So, Juv, I have a question about your list. So, John Wilkes Booth, tell me the inspo behind putting him at number 1 and where that came from.
Yeah, so I'm curious too, Bekah. That was a great question.
Yes, I read the book, The Manhunt, which actually details what transpired that night and the 12 days and them trying to find John Wilkes Booth. And John Wilkes Booth wasn't a slouch. And I tried to think about, all right, if that happened today, let's say Leonardo DiCaprio decides to assassinate the president. Is that not like the biggest thing ever?
The craziest
thing. Craziest thing ever. Now, we didn't put a time frame to this. We didn't say in the last 10 years or 15 years or 20 years. We said of all time. And we cannot discount the fact that an actor shot the president, plotted to kill his whole cabinet, while he was going to go see one of his shows. He was actually going to go see the man play. So imagine you're going to go see Leonardo DiCaprio act, and he shoots you in the back of the head. Honest Abe, who freed slaves. I mean, dang, that has to be. Twitter would have been out of control. Snapchat would have broke down. Instagram would have been like.
The internet would have broke.
Internet would have broke.
Yeah, the grids, like we're off the grid. But all right. So here's my other question.
Yes.
Do I have to name a third place?
Yes. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
As much as we want to celebrate the winner, we want to laugh at the loser.
No,
Absolutely.
All right, you guys do your cross-examination now.
HLS, you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, Bekah kind of already started it, but number 3, Soso Juv, Bill Cosby, right? We're talking about career ending, right? Bill Cosby, at the time this came out, his career was already on the decline. Like he wasn't really making new comedy specials. He wasn't really making no TV shows, no movies. He was already, I don't want to say he'd already fallen from grace, but he already kind of like fell off. How does he become your number 3 out of? And we said there's no time. There's no time. You have John Wilkes Booth at number 1. How does Bill Cosby become number 3 when he was kind of already on the decline?
So there's a two-parter to it. First part is inside track. I used to work in the film industry. I actually worked on a Bill Cosby documentary. There was a Bill Cosby documentary that was going to come out. I actually went to one of the schools where he filmed. It was like a school where it was alternative learning and it was more music based, and he was there and he was interviewing. So I can't say I met Bill Cosby, but I was on set with Bill Cosby. So that's one part personal to me, because once again, it's my 5 cents. It's always personal to me. The second piece to it is the fall from grace. Bill Cosby is still a name. before this point comes out. If Bill Cosby endorses you, you're somebody. We're talking about an all-time legend in the entertainment business. We're not talking just some regular guy. So to me, after that, and after all the crisis, he no longer has that. He got stripped from all his accolades for everything he did at Temple University. Like, fall from grace. He was more than just an actor.
Well, I agree with everything you said on point number 2. Point number 1 is a little irrelevant, but we're talking about career ending. That was the title of the show, career ending. His fall from grace was epic. I can't take that away. But if we're talking about career ending, him getting his name removed from a couple of colleges has nothing to do with his career.
What? How not? How not so? Part of the career is his legacy. How do you say that doesn't all intertwine with everything that he's done with HBCUs? That discredits his career? That's attached to his career. Because when you talk entertainment, you talk celebrity, there is more to it.
His career was over.
Says who?
Were you checking for Bill Cosby? Were you looking for a new show, a new special? Were you checking for him at that time?
Whether or not I was checking for him, if he wanted to do those things, would he be denied? If he started up the Cosby Show again, would he have been denied?
Yo, he had a show on CBS.
No. Answer the question. Answer the question. Would he have been denied?
Yes, he would have been denied. But what I'm telling
you is, get out of
what
here.
I'm telling you is,
you can't really answer that question. I mean,
he had a show on CBS.
We're talking
after the
hypotheticals
Cosby
here.
Show.
Yeah, but then you can't say that if he says it's a no, then you're saying no, it's a yes. Like, it's both hypothetical situations.
So exactly logical.
So go either way.
You say that his career was over, and I can't say the opposite to that.
What I'm telling you is, Bill Cosby was already fallen. He's already fell hard. Like, he was already fading from the public spotlight. He had a show that came out after the Cosby Show on CBS with Felicia Rashad. So Dynamic Duo was back in action. The show was called Cosby. His name was all over it, and it didn't last. It didn't do well.
Yeah. I guess I would say this. I kind of agree with HLS on this one in that Bill Cosby became a celebrity, right? If we're focusing on that word, from his television, acting, movies, comedy, whatever, right? And he wasn't really doing that when the controversy, all of this happened even back then, right? It just actually fell apart recently, but his career in that world was kind of gone. It was fading or not really there. I think the most he was doing was really like speaking engagements and motivational speaking at like universities and colleges, like stuff like that. But his career as an actor, as a comedian, was really not there anymore. So that's where I would say, yeah, I don't know if Cosby fits the mold. I agree, like his fall from grace was like epic. If you're saying the most epic fall from grace, okay, yeah, and I think we obviously talked about that in another episode. But career ending, if we're focusing on framing it that way, then I would agree on that with Cosby not having a top 5, in my opinion. That's why for my list, I framed it in that people were at the peak of their careers and downfall came.
Okay.
What do you got, LG?
You touched on Cosby. You touched on, or Bekah touched on John Wilkes Booth. I feel like that John Wilkes Booth, that celebrity thing is, I don't know. It's tough to say. I agree. Like, if it happened today, it would be a big scandal. I don't know if celebrities can, that word celebrity could apply back then, right? So, because that didn't really exist other than you being like a president. Like, who really knew John Wilkes Booth other than his 5 teachers in his small town down the street or something like that? Like, there was no, by the time he made news, it was like a month later before the Pony Express got into the West Coast or something like that. So I would say for me, I think with Soso Juv is number 4, Prince Harry. I think I agree. He obviously, $7 million. Like, what the hell, Harry? But I think he's still making some money. I still think he's viewed, like, technically the royals don't accept him anymore, but he's still seen as a celebrity. And I don't think as many people in the UK that probably hate him, or in the world that hate him for leaving the royals, there are just as many people, I think, who support him. So I think his fall isn't really there, depending on who you talk to. HLS, I
So
would
my
say for
rebuttal to that, hold on a
okay.
second. My rebuttal to that is, once again, you guys made up this whole frame. We're talking about career, right? And his
Mhm.
career was being royalty. He is no longer royalty. He is not going back to that. That career is over. Now he can start a new career doing whatever it is that he's doing, but he is no longer royal. He's no longer accepted.
But here's the thing, though. Like, I feel like he made that choice. He chose to leave that life. He chose, like, when he knew there was going to be controversy by marrying Megan, and when all the stuff came out, or the allegations that Megan was kind of putting out there, like indirectly or directly, he supported his woman and said, I'm with her, and I chose to leave this life. So he purposely chose to leave it. Whether or not you can say that's a career ending by self-sacrifice, or by other people, whatever. Yeah, but I don't know. So okay.
I don't know if I agree with he purposely. I think that he was pushed. I think his family pushed him out. I wouldn't agree that that was, hey, yeah, this is dandy, and I'm just deciding to leave the Royals. After watching that docuseries, yeah, no, I wouldn't say that
Yeah,
it
I
was
mean,
just
they
I
gave him an
decided I was,
ultimatum. Yeah, they gave him an ultimatum basically, and he chose which path he wanted. Did he not?
and his career as a Royal ended.
But he still chose that path. So it's not like it wasn't expected or anything like that. But okay. Um, I guess so. HLS. I think for you, Milli Vanilli. I mean, that was a big thing, but I don't know. I wouldn't put weight on that over. Like, I wouldn't put that over Matt Lauer. You have them at number 3. I wouldn't put them
Yo,
over Kevin Spacey
Millie.
at number
So
5.
Millie Vanilli are the only duo to have their Grammy rescinded in history. The only
Okay,
duo.
Lance Armstrong is the only Tour de France winner who got wiped. All 7 things got wiped from basically existence.
No, 100%.
I thought you were about to
But
say one testicle for a second there.
Well, I mean that's how that was part of it, I guess.
but Lance is still alive. He still gets a certain level of respect, a little bit. You
From
say Milli
who?
Vanilli, it's a laughing stock. Like there's jokes made out of it. Like anytime something goes wrong with the lip sync, it's a hashtag now. Well, not a hashtag, but like people are like, oh, this is a
It's a
Milli
reference.
Vanilli moment.
No,
It's
well, it depends on who you talk to, because nowadays they'll reference Miley Cyrus from SNL.
Ashley Simpson.
Ashley
Ashley
Simpson. I'm
Simpson.
sorry, excuse me. Ash, thank you for correcting that, because that's
Correct.
celebrity memory. Ashley Simpson from SNL.
Yeah. But some of the people of my generation be like, yo, it's a Milli Vanilli moment.
Yeah, but they're not alive anymore from your generation. Like, what are you talking about? They're
You
all
are?
dead.
What are you talking about? You're
I'm
still
not
alive
from
and
your
kicking, aren't you?
generation. You're the last man standing. No one's gonna remember after you go.
Yeah, fair.
So who do you have for Cross?
Oh man, where I struggle with y'all list, and I think more with you, Logical Genius, is we talk about career ending and like never being able to come back. I struggle with your 3 and your 2, Ellen DeGeneres and Kevin Spacey. I believe Ellen could potentially make a comeback after some time has subsided. I would almost say the same thing about Kevin Spacey. He was actually found not guilty of the charges in last year in July. So there's room for potential comeback. If we're talking about career ending, that means no coming back. My list, there's no coming back from that 5 right there. You more so Logical Genius than HLS because of the Kevin Spacey thing. I think that there's room for comeback with your list.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I was actually thinking about that, right? And it was a question I probably would have asked Bekah as well. We could ask her. I was like, how do you know, right? How do you know it's over, because there's still time left? And for me, I think I took people who it's been. I think if it's been more than like 3 years, I think, and this is just a number that I'm pulling out of my head, that if it's more than 3 years and you're just gone from the face of the earth in terms of your celebrity status or whatever, like, I think to me that's a lot. Like, with the exception, I agree with Ellen was recent, but I think, what was it? Her last thing was 2018 or something like that. I can't remember what the last episode was. But we haven't heard from her since. It's been a few years, so I feel like, yeah, could there be potential for them to come back? Yes, there's always potential for anyone. Hollywood loves a good comeback story, right? Look at Robert Downey Jr., right? He disappeared, had drug and alcohol issues and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden, fast forward 10 years later, making millions with Marvel. So that was something that was in the back of my mind, but I felt like it was enough time that passed with these particular celebrities that I felt like it was enough for me to call it, I guess.
So you said you wanted to ask Bekah. I'm going to ask Bekah. Bekah, do you see Ellen DeGeneres and Kevin Spacey potentially making a comeback?
A lot of these people, and this is kind of how I'm using my barometer. Some are single asterisk and some are double asterisk, meaning all these people will always have an asterisk by their name, right? No matter where they go, no matter what they do, people are never going to forget XYZ. However, there are some things that are so unforgivable. The R. Kellys, the Harvey Weinsteins, the Matt Lauers. But then you have level B, which is Ellen and Lance Armstrong. Did I call Ellen out many years ago? Did I know she was a phony baloney? Yes, I did. Because I knew people that worked on that show and I knew that she was not very nice, but that's a whole other thing. So I really just think it's the level of what is forgivable and what is not forgivable. And it all goes back to my asterisk system. I don't know if that answers the question.
I think that's fair.
It seems like a fair answer to me.
Yeah, I think so. So
HLS, you want to explain your Kevin Spacey?
Who am I?
Yeah, Kevin Spacey.
So I think sometimes,
not
especially
guilty.
with, say it again.
He was not guilty.
No, but the accusations are enough. Sometimes if you have your name in the mud, that's all you need. And while Kevin is a fantastic actor, there are so many other good actors that you don't necessarily need Kevin Spacey, right? Like when Charlie Sheen left, you had Ashton Kutcher, who's not a fantastic actor, but the show continued for a couple of years, right? So you don't really need Charlie Sheen. You don't really need Kevin Spacey. I don't see Kevin making a comeback because the accusations they're there. They're present.
I was going to say, like, what are you talking about? But that made sense.
Yeah,
that final point made sense.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You actually argued against your list there.
How?
You were saying like Charlie Sheen could be replaceable. So it's almost as if his celebrity star is not as pertinent as you're making it out to be. And to be
his career ended. He was on the top. Charlie Sheen was the guy. But they realized, hey, listen, you know what? We don't need him anymore. He can be replaced. So he's no longer the guy. So his career is done.
Okay. Well, Bekah, you now have to sort through this madness and this nonsense. It's decision time.
I do have a clear winner. But I will say you guys changed my mind completely by poking holes in each other's lists.
Okay.
We're here for
perspective and persuasion.
Yeah, no.
So Bekah, we want to know
does work.
Who's number 3?
Who has the worst list, Bekah?
The worst.
And I'm not calling it the worst list.
We're calling it the worst. No,
again, I'm going by my asterisk system. And what's funny is this initial list, I think, was my top, was my like front runner. But then there was some holes. You guys opened my eyes up a little bit. Logical genius, unfortunately.
I have the worst list.
No. You do not have the worst list because I do believe Harvey Weinstein does belong at the top. Like he is the top. But there is potential for comeback for Ellen. I think because some people already thought she was a little bit of a POS, it wasn't that much of a shock when all the accusations came out. But I do like that you included Ellen in your list because that actually was a wild card. I didn't even think of Ellen. But
that doesn't mean anything to me, Bekah, because you put me in third place. So
you're in third.
I mean, come on.
Just based on, because there is still potential for possibly a Lance Armstrong situation. You never know when those yellow bracelets will come back and haunt us.
It's been too low for Lance. I feel like it's done. Yeah. I respect your logic.
And I respect your list. Okay.
All right. I expected us to be in third. So who's number 1?
the
We don't
number
care about number 2.
the
Just
number
want to hear
one
who's number
list,
1.
the number one list only, and again, that's because of my asterisk system. Most of these people are never coming back, some quite literally because they are dead. HLS, you win.
What? Some are dead.
Soso
John Wilkes Booth. There's
I
no
know.
coming back.
Let me tell you.
Oh, no,
Let me
hold on.
tell
We
you
need to
something.
pause and replay that reaction
They
because
are
Soso
dead.
Juv thought he had it.
Yeah, he really did. He
HLS.
really did.
Sure,
Win.
without a doubt.
The only reason why,
Yes.
here's the thing about John Wilkes Booth.
Oh
You were like, I thought that was such an out there
my
answer.
God, it wasn't out there.
But when you gave me the explanation, I said, oh my, he's got something. Like you were holding on to it and you proved your case with John Wilkes Booth because you made me picture him as like a modern, like a Leonardo DiCaprio type.
No, legit.
When you went
That's
into like
actually the only reason why I made the list.
If
Of
Leo
like
was a local actor at the local high school, yeah, okay. Because no one
So-
else saw him.
the only other
Get
thing
out of
too-
here. Look him up.
like I knew what you were gonna. I know what you're saying about Harry. Maybe it's recency bias because I'm still reading his book. This has been the longest read of my life. It's been like cringy trying to get through this book, but only because like he's Harry. Even though yes, the $7 million, the American divorced actress wife, like he's still Harry. Like he didn't
Black American.
Right. But Harry didn't do some of the other stuff that like the Cosbys and the Weinsteins and the Lowers did. You know what I mean?
When they came to Los Angeles or the States, it was like a big thing. Like all the news outlets were reporting his tour with Meghan or whatever. So
yeah, so like there wasn't it. Now Harry does have some pretty shady things in his past though too. Like there was like he wore a Nazi outfit. Like he's been known to do some weird stuff, but.
And all of those other things didn't make him unroyal. But once he married the American black woman, so really the question should have came down to what is the bigger controversy? A royal marrying an American black woman or two Jamaicans lip singing? Bekah, I think you might have missed the shot on that one.
But it's fall from grace, and it's true. They got their Grammy taken away from them, and that's never happened, which is shocking. It hasn't happened since, considering all the stuff that some of these Grammy winners have done. But it takes lip syncing to get the Grammy taken away.
Yeah.
Yes. So Bekah, we want to know what's on your 5 cents. What's your 5 cents on the topic?
My 5 cents on the top. Do you want me to run down a list or just kind of
Yeah, you're 5. You're 5.
Yeah, you're 5.
Okay.
However you want to present it. There's no criteria.
Okay. I would definitely go with Kevin Spacey at number 5. Again, he had a lot of us fooled thinking he was a good guy. And then some of this other stuff comes out. And some people would still give him a chance considering his court cases and things like that. But he's always going to have an asterisk. I would definitely put Bill Cosby on my list. Unfortunately, a lot of us grew up loving him so much, and then all this, and it was such a terrible snowball effect. A lot of these people got in trouble around the same time too, so it was very overwhelming for a lot of us who grew up loving a lot of these people. Sad. Surviving R. Kelly was such a hard docu-series to watch. All these secrets that did live in the closet for so long coming out, it just made a lot of us so sick, especially those who loved his music and can no longer listen to it in the same way. And then I would definitely round it out with a Harvey Weinstein. You know, it used to kill me when you would watch these award shows, and especially the actresses, they would be like, I want to thank my mom. I want to thank Jesus. I want to thank Harvey.
Yep. Yeah, he made celebrity.
Oh, man.
And it is just like this like toad looking guy in a suit. And you knew he was like,
He really was a toad looking guy.
Like mega powerful. But you always knew like deep down inside, there was something like not right there. Not right. And then I will never forget this. So we were in the Hot 106 studio. And again, this was like, when did the Matt Lauer thing hit? It was during the Me Too stuff. So we were finding out all this stuff like online, right? Oh, Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and rinse, repeat, whatever. But we found out in the studio by Heartless Jim was our producer. And he looked up at the TV and he goes, and it was Savannah Guthrie and Hoda Kotb. And they were like,
announcing,
our guy Matt Lauer is just as guilty as the rest of these jerks, basically. And they didn't say it like that, but I will just never forget how that felt. Again, like you guys described Matt Lauer, not America's sweetheart, but like whatever the male equivalent is. And fall from grace, literally nobody has seen or heard from him. I know he went to some wedding a few months ago, but other than that, he dipped out and went ghost.
Gone. I heard he's on a farm in New Zealand.
Oh, see, I thought he was on I thought he was just hiding not on Long Island and like in the Hamptons. But the New Zealand thing I buy.
Yeah, I buy. I think you got to leave the country at that point, right? Yeah. And hope that you go to a place that no one really recognizes you that well.
Yeah. Just grow a beard.
So Bekah, we went out and we did something that we call the People's Poll. So we scoured through social media. We asked social media what they thought on the topic, and this is their 5 cents on it. So at number 5, and this is my pick for the week, all in one shot. This is from Zen Alto Swift Jetta. And he said, Obama's tan suit. Now, for those...
That's the fall from grace?
Oh, my
that's
terrible.
They said that suit was not up for re-election.
Where is that suit, I wonder? Do we think he has it?
Smithsonian or something like that, probably.
Did he auction it off?
It's going to be in the Smithsonian. It's going to end up there. I guarantee it.
It's going to be in the Obama Library.
Yep. Yeah, right? So for those of y'all that don't know, on August 28th of 2014, the United States President Barack Obama held a live press conference in which he was discussing the prospect of escalating the U.S. military response to the Islamic State, ISIS, in Syria. For the conference, he wore this tan suit, and this tan suit became the talk of the town for some time within the media there. So the tan suit didn't make a comeback. At number 4, the People's Poll, they had Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
At number 3, we had Harvey Weinstein, which we spoke about. At number 2, someone we didn't speak about, we had Stephen Collins from Seventh Heaven. I don't know if y'all remember him from Seventh Heaven.
The dad, yeah.
Pastor Camden.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So that was number 2. And at number 1, we had Matt Lauer as number 1. And that's the People's Poll right there. Logical Genius, I know you like to go to ChatGPT with it. So what did ChatGPT have to say about it?
We asked the all-knowing AI, right? And said, well, what do you think, from your perspective, ChatGPT? So I asked it, what are the top 5 celebrities that never recovered from controversy? Now, I think the AI understood the question, but some of the names that came out are recognizable, but I kind of question it. Number 1, all right, let's start with number 5. Number 5, it had Pee Wee Herman, aka or better known as Paul Rubens. Rubens' career took a significant hit after he was arrested for masturbating in adult theater in 1991, which led to CBS dropping his reruns of Pee Wee Herman Playhouse show. He tried making comebacks here and there, but his career never hit its peak again. Jeffrey Tambor, accused of sexual misconduct by his assistant co-star on the show Transparent.
Really?
He's the older gentleman. You don't remember? You've seen his face. You'll see him like.
He was on Three's Company.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. He never recovered from that. This one almost made my list actually. James Franco. James Franco accused by multiple women for sexual misconduct. I mean, this guy was an up and coming A-list. Like I think at one point he had like 28 movies coming out, and 12 in 1 year or something like that. And he kind of just disappeared after all of that. At number 2, which is I thought this was kind of an odd one. It's too recent, I think, but Mike Richards, the guy that they tapped originally to replace Alex Trebek for Jeopardy. He was also a producer, but then a lot of things came out, and then he kind of got dropped. At number 1,
about the guy from Seinfeld. What was his name?
It was a very similar name, but because he had his own
Richards,
issue too.
Yeah, that went the N-word crazy on us.
Richards, yeah.
Kramer. His
Yeah,
main
Kramer. He had
character.
the whole comedy thing when he was like stand up,
Yeah.
making racial comments or whatever. At number one, this was an interesting one that ChatGPT had was Chris Noth from Sex and the City.
Yeah, that was a
In a
really
good way.
bad one.
Yeah.
Because he was on the reboot, and the reboot had like a big storyline surrounding him, and
Boss, basically.
yeah.
No
Big,
spoilers.
Mr. Big.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So that's what ChatGPT had to say about the top 5.
All right. So, Bekah, we want to thank you for being on the show. We would like to know if you have any projects coming up or any social media that you want to shout out.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, you can listen to me Monday through Friday from 6 to 10 a.m. on 92 Pro FM. If you can't get that locally here in Rhode Island and in Southern New England, you can go to 92profm.com and download the 92 Pro FM app. And you can always follow me on social media at Bekah Berger on Instagram, Facebook, X, whatever that is called now, Twitter, TikTok, all that. And connect with me. I would love to connect with everyone.
All right, so make sure y'all give her a follow. We're going to go ahead and say good night to the people. Logical Genius, go ahead and start us off.
Bekah, the only thing I'm addicted to is winning. Winning every second. I did not win tonight, and that's thanks to you, but I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate your logic. I'll do better next time, people.
I'm going to go ahead and say good night to the people. Oh my gosh, to my Juvettes. You know, we talk about this show and we talk about how it's part perspective, part persuasion. And you can see, for those that are watching on video, Logical Genius has his URI shirt. I have my URI shirt. I am a Thunderbolt. We should have been connected to Bekah, but somehow she chose the outsider to be first place. What? I don't even understand what happened here, people. Bekah, your decision making, your decision making is quite questionable. I have to say this. I must admit it.
I know.
But I'm going to say goodnight to the people. And HLS and our champion for the week.
Yeah, Bekah, you stepped in the right direction. That's what you did.
That's
right.
Right.
So here's the funny thing too. Soso Juv said it. I've had a lot of success in Rhode Island. My success in Rhode Island continues.
The streak continues.
Continues.
Here we
Thank
go.
you, everybody.
I
Your
love
boy
it.
HLS has done it again. Good night, everybody.
There we go. And Bekah Berger, please say goodnight to the people.
Oh, good night. Thank you so much.